quickly move towards the next session that we have on the perspectives on advertising economy and the role of video in it. So there are a lot of questions in this. Firstly, what are the key factors influencing the advertising industry's shift towards digital and online platforms? The next one could be, what trends are shaping the future of video advertising in the advertising economy? And the next one, moreover, is what challenges do advertisers face in ensuring their video content is engaging and memorable in a crowded digital landscape? To get the answers to all these questions, we have an elaborated session by our esteemed speakers. To start with it, would like to invite on stage Ms. Priyanka Khaneja Gandhi, Director, Integrated Brand Experience Lead, Colgate-Palmolive India Limited. Please welcome Ms. Priyanka. Only I am doing the applause. May I request all of you to please give a huge round of applause for the gorgeous lady out there on the dais. Now I would like to invite Ms. Sheena Kapoor, Head Marketing, Corporate Communications and CSR, ICICI Lombard. Please welcome Ms. Kapoor. We have Ms. Amita Srivastava, Vice President, West, Carat, India. Please welcome Ms. Amita. All the empowered women on stage. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we would like to welcome all of you. Mr. Vastav is there on the dais, and would like to invite our session chair, Mr. Deepak Sonpar, Managing Partner, EssenceMediacom, India. Please welcome Mr. Sonpar. Over to you, Mr. Sonpar.
Thank you. A very, very warm welcome to the panel, and thank you for taking time out. I think for the day, it's the first panel full of women, so put that benchmark in. So the first question to start the conversation is, we live in an era which is now called the post-COVID landscape era, right? And if in the landscape, if there's any trend that you all have observed, any notable trends that you think are worth leveraging, that's where I would like to kick off the session with. So Amita, inviting you to start that.
Thank you so much. Am I audible? Good? Better? Thank you. So, we're going to be talking about the advertising landscape right now. So, I want to begin by saying the first thing over here, that there is so much fragmentation right now that it's an era of choices for the consumers, right? TV, of course, continues to be, very important for everybody, but digital is something which has been jumping and leaping and leapfrogging its way to the top, and it has beaten TV, and it's kind of like growing and becoming even more dominant. So digital is the first thing which I'm going to be talking about. It is something which we are looking at largely also because of the exponential growth of internet and mobiles, smartphones, right? Smartphones have given us this option of targeting our audiences, and mobile content is something which is growing very strongly. In fact, all our websites now need to be mobile compliant. Otherwise, people come back saying that, "Arey, ye kaisi website hai?" Ye brand kaisa hai, which doesn't work on my mobile. So digital, backed by mobile, and then backed by social. Because once you have a mobile in hand, social is something which is jumping down your throat. Every other option of a Facebook or a Snapchat or Meta or Google. So you have people jumping on that bandwagon. And brands using all of these social methods to reach out to your audiences. It allows you to target them well. So that is something which works in digital, because you can target the entire user journey and capture your audiences where they are, and even hyper-local, target them. Now that has led you to a video content boom. Brands want to increasingly focus on all kinds of content. It is no longer just a domain of the publishers or the content creators. It is the brands which are getting into it and seamlessly integrating themselves into this space. I'm sure both of you will have a few examples to add on to that. I'm looking forward to it. After the video content bit, I want to just touch upon very briefly on programmatic. Because from an advertiser's perspective, it is content which you're speaking of. From the agency perspective, programmatic becomes very important because that helps us deliver efficiencies, the best buying which is possible to reach out to the kind of audiences which we are looking at. So programmatic is something which is a trend which I think will only become stronger and stronger as we go along. Another thing which I want to very briefly talk about is native advertising. So while we have a lot of content which is going on, which is a little brash in terms of, exposing a brand and talking very specifically about brand values, pointers, etc., there are some brands which prefer the approach of a slightly more seamless integration. And I think they are the ones who are going into this native advertising space and utilizing it very well to speak to their audiences. The last couple of points which I want to make are about how content becomes important in the vernacular context. A very large part of our content today is driven by English and Hindi also. But there are a lot of areas where vernacular is something which makes, people take actions in a far more interested and informed manner. And for that, I think it is a very important area to approach for advertisers. If they are able to create content which works in vernacular, in regional and local spaces, we have found that that works far better than sticking to just an English-based content. The last thing which I want to talk about is cable. Now, cable is something which we are all very used to. It's something which we used to plan, years ago for TV. And somewhere in the middle, it kind of fell away because of measurability issues. So initially, we had, some bit of coverage through time, etc. for cable. But then because of, as I said, measurability, we are not able to utilize it so much. Although I think there is a lot of opportunity for cable to really be used in a hyperlocal context and build on that, to be used by the advertisers as well.
Also, cable has the capacity to go very, very hyperlocal.
Absolutely, I agree with that completely. Yeah.
So, a quick follow-up question, versus say 10 years ago or 5 years ago, how easy or difficult is it to reach this consumer today?
I think it's a very mixed answer you're going to get. So it is easy in the sense that we have so many options now, but it is also equally difficult because, because of the same options, there is just too much on the plate. So you can choose, yes, today something works, tomorrow something doesn't work, because the audience is very capricious, So if they like particular content, they are following the content now. They are not following a channel or a platform. So you have to be there where the audience is. So like I said, programmatic is something which will help you a lot in that way from the agency's perspective.
Got it. So may I take away that agency's job is going to get more difficult?
Yeah, but it's fun.
Got it. Got it. So keeping in context of what you said about both the expansion and the fragmentation, right? So what of these notable changes that we've seen in context of video consumption, how are we leveraging them? What are the brands doing? How do we intend to leverage them, including the new age programmatic and AI? So inviting Sheena.
Yeah, thanks Deepak. I think in terms of the trends overall and how it's changed from yesteryears to now, a lot of it actually Amita has already covered, whether you're talking about proliferation of devices, and therefore there's disintegration of devices, because earlier on you would sit as a family, as one household, sit in front of the idiot box, and there was a certain program that everybody in the household was consuming, and therefore was forced to consume the advertisement that was being played. Today when you talk, you're talking about, in the same household, there are multiple devices, and I'm not just talking about television, we are talking, people are consuming content with the, like I talked about, the disintegration of devices, you're talking about iPads, mobile phones, multiple TV screens, laptops, and everybody, the other big change is that everybody is now moving more and more towards content and video on demand. So I want to consume what I want to consume, depending on the genre that I like and that I am inclined towards, which makes the task for a brand, therefore, a lot more tougher, because you're talking about vying for the same kind of attention span with the consumers, and you've got to now spend a lot more. You've got to have higher frequency, and you've got to be able to have multiple touch points and know exactly where the consumer is to be able to reach and target the content. The other big trend that we've seen, again, Amita touched upon it, is on the social media and the influencers space. What that does is today your go-to role models for a brand are no longer confined to your actors or celebrities. You're talking about micro-influencers. You're talking about that next-door neighbor, that auntie, or that uncle or that kid who's been able to hook you with the kind of content, whether it is entertaining, whether it is engaging, and therefore brands are now looking and exploring at associating with such influencers and micro-influencers, because you know that there is a huge affinity with the kind of following that they have. The entire tech space of AI, ML, and now, Gen AI, generative AI, that has actually opened up multiple formats as well in terms of video. The formats of video itself has gone from an attention span of, earlier you had a long form content which would do well on, YouTube, which could be, say 1 minute or even 20-minute content. Today you've got, the attention span is so minuscule that you're vying, the same audience is vying for a 10-second or reels on Insta or, YouTube and your TikTok. And in fact, I was reading about it, interestingly, there is an e-commerce company in China where the main protagonist is actually selling products in just 3 seconds. And her only job is to just ship, demonstrate, hold, an apparel or a t-shirt or a product, whatever it is that she's selling in 3 seconds. So you're talking about, therefore, as a brand, when you talk about it, that's the kind of attention span of the user. From our perspective at ICICI Lombard, we're India's largest private general insurance company. We've actually taken a huge leap, and I'm very excited on the entire Gen AI space. So building on that, actually, just a few months ago, September, October, we actually launched industry's first new Gen AI-led campaign on insurance, where the entire, and it's video, but the beauty of this was that the entire script, the production, the editing was completely done using AI tools. So end to end, that was what was, and it was, we had 3 films, one on motor, one on travel, one on health. And the other big trend is on personalization, which I'm sure we can cover in subsequent conversations.
Sure.
Great, thank you.
I think you put it very well when you said families used to watch TV together, now no one does that together. Just a twist, because I was with my family a few weeks ago, and all of us were watching TV, and I genuinely felt that we are back to watching TV, but this time TV is a little more connected and not linear. Very well said. A little twist, and I'll invite Priyanka for this question, is adding to what Sheena and Amita have said, is how do brands, and what benefits have you seen in your life, and how has it impacted the video channel selection or channel marketing strategies at your end?
Thanks, Deepak. So let me break it into 3 parts. Okay, one is, of course, the narrative of video, right? What do you want to tell to consumers? And now we know we talk to urban audiences with benefits which are premium, all the way down to rural audiences, and then we look at states. So one is, how do you change the narrative of your video storytelling based on who you're talking to, getting the right language, getting the right context,
and also building the proposition that is more relevant. So when we are talking to somebody in rural India, then you want to talk about the product benefit and the availability and the value proposition of the product, in rural. And then we are talking to people in South, or let's say in TN, then how do you bring in the right cultural nuances and not just create one ad and then, do language dub. So that world is over, and we really look at going hyper-local as much as possible, even in terms of creating content. The second part is what, they've been talking about is multiplicity of formats and videos, right? So a video is not like one piece of content that you make. I think the bigger challenge is how do you tell a story, and what story do you tell in a 30-second format, in a 60-second format, in a 20-second format, and a 15 and a 6. So from a brand point of view, when we look at a campaign development, we have to think of how do you communicate this in a 30, 20, and 6. And it's not about a cut down. Increasingly, we are talking about, okay, what should the story be when you have only 6 seconds to communicate? And of course, as you look at your audiences, the channels and the touch points are shortlisted based on what is the right mix. But beyond that, we also look at what is the touch point and what is the content that you need to create. And increasingly trying to create content which is more, format out and not cut downs. So it's a journey. For that, the bigger challenges are you need agency ecosystems that can create multiplicity of assets. You need people who can think differently on different channels. And you need very agile content creation devices, right? Because coming from the advertiser side, now instead of creating 1 or 2 videos, we need to create maybe 100 videos. You bring in the challenge of personalization, which is on digital. If people are consuming a certain kind of content like shopping or, who like beauty, you can personalize the content. So the multiplicity of content is one of our bigger initiatives is how do we get to creating content at scale and with agility. And one such initiative that we did is, in 2022, we actually set up an in-house content team to enable that. How can we therefore, look at content creation at scale? If there's an idea, how can we create it in-house? So that's one of the sort of initiatives that we're doing. The third part of video creation is also you're looking at consumer journey, and as a brand, what's the funnel that you really target? You want to catch attention with a proposition that sort of is meaningful to a consumer in their life, and then you then need to sort of, so that the person remembers, okay, this is a brand that I've heard of, this is a brand that's relevant for me. And then you have to go down to saying, okay, I need to know why is this better than what I'm using, right now. So then that requires a different kind of a persuasive message. What we typically say is attention, consideration, and then you move people down the purchase. So it's not just about one message, that does the job. So if I am, for example, and let me take a recent example, and I hope all of you have seen the communication is now, we have been trying to communicate and build this habit of brushing at night, right? Now, the attention that we are catching is, the insight that we had is all Indians love sweets, but they sort of, end their night with just sweets and not brushing. And that's the hook that we have used to catch attention, to get attention saying you need to brush at night. Having said that, we know that that's not enough. You still need to, people hear about it, but they don't necessarily start doing the habit, right? Then you need to create content which sort of helps them to understand what are the consequences of not brushing at night, right? So these are additional exposures. It's not about one piece of content into exposing it 10 times, right? If you go by the classic reach and frequency model, you'll end up doing that. But it is about how often do you reach with the right kind of communication. So it is about building different types of video content to address a particular task in the journey of the consumer.
Well, very well put. Just to give you an anecdote for me, because I have a young son, brushing at night is a family activity. That's how you're teaching them. But just a follow-up question, and then I'll invite Amita also. Is there any platform or format that you've seen emerge and become more prominent?
Look, Reels, short format and Reels is an emerging, highly consumed format. We've seen on these social media channels, when you use Reels, it helps you to get more reach and engagement, which means people are consuming it more. Likewise, very recently, we've done, a campaign where for a whitening toothpaste, one of our tasks was we realized that while people are aware of it, there are still, people are asking questions around how does it work? Is it efficacious? Is it safe for my teeth? Where did we get this insight from? We got this insight from, the reviews that you get, right? When people give you feedback. So when we realized that we need to start communicating, how does it work? How long does it take? You need to reinforce that in people. So here we said, okay, the route that we took was we said we'll go out to influencers. There are lots of beauty influencers and people anyways, follow them. And usually you would first go with a story that is more, constructed in the way of how you want to communicate the benefit. But this time we gave them a lot of leeway. We said, okay, we will do shorts. We will do content that is really in the life of the influencer. It'll be, very sort of conversational, not really hard on man. And we've seen very good results, right? We had to also be uncomfortable or at least shift away from a brand lens of saying, let the person do what they're doing, let them be funny. And we've seen very, very good early reads on, engagement being much higher, people interacting with the content much higher. So I think what I see happening more is brands being more comfortable when you use influencer or more organic content spaces like this, giving more leeway on storytelling, which should help deliver on the brand task, but it's not necessarily a branded story. How do you make it more relevant in the native environment that people want to consume?
Fantastic. Amita, same question to you, just to bring your perspective in. Any format or platform have you seen becoming more prominent in the recent years?
Yes, Deepak. I would say that every format which engages with the audience is slowly gaining more and more traction. So if you see any audio video format, obviously that is the one which will pick up first, right? Storytelling is best done in the AV format, which Priyanka just touched upon. So that is what I think is the future forward trend which we can note here. From the consumer's perspective, the attention spans are really becoming shorter and shorter. So when advertisers ask us what is the ideal length I should use, we are caught in a bit of a quandary because there is some bit of storytelling which is absolutely essential. So you can't always tell them ki, I want a 6-seconder because efficiency to main wahin se laungi. So because your objective I think could well be a 60-seconder at times, and when the agency comes back and says give me a 6-seconder, it's like, what are you talking? So that happens. It happens with all our clients. But I think advertisers and brands have learned how to make engaging content. Sometimes it is user-generated content. Sometimes it is integrated content into other types of content from publishers, etc. Everything which is engaging is the way people are going forward. YouTube is one big thing which people are looking at. Shorts, that is something which has picked up. All the social media you can see, everybody is using social media, they're using influencers. Every different type of way to generate interest in your story, in your connect with the your consumer. That is what brands are doing. So from a future perspective, these are the spaces which brands will be looking to augment more and more. So that's what I think.
So I take away 2 words. I think the first word is impatience. The second word is trust. I'll keep that in the back of my mind. That brings me to my next question. And I'll invite Sheena here. In the era and the world of personalization, how does a brand approach personalization from a lens of creativity, content and media?
Right. So let me give you examples, and I think that will best demonstrate the beauty of this. So as is the case for any brand, irrespective of industry that you're in, you have, say, a call to action of you want the user, you've acquired him from digital, multiple channels, affiliate marketing, whether it's Meta, YouTube, whatever. You want the guy to come to your landing page, give your lead capture, and then there's a conversion funnel, right? And then you will have that, obviously with every funnel, you will have traffic that's landing. He or she may or may not fill up the lead that you want the action, the customer to do. And even if they have filled up the lead, they've not gone on to the conversion to actually go ahead and seamlessly purchase and actually pay for the product. They've dropped off somewhere in the journey, right? And which is why you've got remarketing and all of that. So we've had the same challenge, and of course we've been doing remarketing, retargeting as most brands do, but we took this, and since you spoke about personalization, and that's what we delved on. So we said, okay, we have customers landing onto our website. We are getting quotes generated because we're insurance, so it's policy quotes. So I want to buy, say, a car insurance, tarara, these are my details of the car, and I've gotten a quote generated on the website. And I've left a lead, but I have not gone on to purchase the policy. Now, what we did was, with the same customers, now within a span of 10 minutes, and again, using Gen AI tools, because we have the database already, we have the tools and platforms already, we have actually done a celebrity-led video. And so we've got Milind Soman, in this case, who's actually talking. So if it's Deepak, who's come onto the site, quote has been generated, but you have dropped off, there is a video that is pushed out to you saying, hey, Deepak, urgency is of need. And the whole film, there is a storytelling, but it's personalized with Deepak. And it's Milind Soman saying, hey, Deepak, why don't you complete this? Similarly, we're using the same tool for our channel partners. So let's say Amita is one of my channel partners, and I want to drive more engagement with her, and I want her to get more engaged with the business and drive, drive more leads, generate more business. I'm now sending the Milind Soman video personalized with her name, where Milind's saying, and I wish, I had the video, we could have played that, but, Milind Soman saying, "Main hero nahi, Amita hero hai, asli hero." Now look at the kind of pride and joy that the channel partner would feel, because immediately it's a wow, it's a delight, there's a surprise factor, there's an intrigue. You have gotten the customer engaged enough to take that call to action that you want, right? So that's the level of personalization that we are toying with, and we are already delivering and demonstrating results for. I'll give you another example. When you spoke about storytelling and narrative, again, we're in health insurance. So we said we wanted to pick up this was around World Heart Day. And we said, okay, India, by 2050, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be the world's biggest capital of heart attacks. That's what the statistics say. We're already in the top 3, and we're going to be the largest statistic. And it's not something statistic that we need to be proud of. It's something extremely concerning, right? And you hear and read about younger guys, marathoners, who are having heart attacks on gym while running and all of that. So we took CPR. We said, okay, let's talk about something new, and we spoke about CPR. Now, as the device, if you wanted to just educate the customers on how CPR is actually a tool that actually saves lives, we engaged from a storytelling perspective. We tied up with Imran Hashmi. Why Imran Hashmi? Because he's seen as a serial kisser. And what we actually said as a storytelling is that, CPR is not a kiss, just a kiss like media, makes it a frivolous this thing. It's actually a kiss of life. It's actually something that's saving a precious life there. So, yeah, those are just some examples.
Very, very good hook. Going a little deeper on personalization, right? I just want to pick your brain, and Priyanka, pick your brain on what's the role of first-party data to drive optimized video performance, to drive efficiency there.
Yeah, so Sheena spoke about one-on-one personalization, which is what first-party data enables you to do. See, in scaled businesses like us, we've realized that, with one-on-one interactions, you can only, we as a brand touch millions of people, right? Almost everyone. So even if you scale it up, even if you get to a few millions, it is small in scale. So how are we trying to use it is, we are trying to understand audiences better. We are, through our own sort of programs, activations, trying to build in a community of people through our Colgate Smiles Club initiative, where we get people into the club and, of course, get their data. Then we understand them through their sort of, attributes and understanding what are they engaging with through a one-on-one communication. which is either through email or SMSs. And once we identify and know a little bit more about them, so for example, now we know people who have interacted with a whitening toothpaste or with content around beauty. We know that, okay, these are people who are interested in beauty. And then from that first party data, we are scaling that up onto other digital channels, right? Through their sort of data matching techniques to build lookalikes, which are more people of this kind. The insight and the assumption being these are people who are more deeply, involved in your category, higher quality audiences, and therefore using them in our media plans in order to get better results out of the plan. And of course, these things are possible for us only on very sharper segments, like whitening, where we know that, people who are interested in beauty are the most likely to first buy into the category, or it could be kids' toothpaste, where we can identify parents and get them to target them. So really for us, the larger use case that is driving impact and will drive more impact in future is scaling this up on channels and enabling personalization at scale here. And by personalization here, I mean is identifying the audience, which is, and then customizing the right kind of solution, oral care solution, oral care content for them, so that it can help them in their life and help us to give them the right sort of solutions from a portfolio point of view.
Fantastic. Coming to my last one or two questions, a generic one, not specific to first party data, but how do you measure success of a video campaign or of a video?
So overall, the success metrics are really twofold. One, as brands, everything that we do around demand generation or, creating awareness has to land up to mind measures of brand health, which is, if it is to drive top of mind of spontaneous and consideration, it should lead to uplifts in that. And of course, the larger objective is to drive business. So there are 3 levels of KPIs that we look at: business, brand, and more directly from a video or a plan outcome, it will be what you can measure from a video. It would be reach. How many people are you reaching at what times? In terms of engagement and interaction, you will look at quality measurements like, view through rates, how much time people are spending on the video. And then, of course, the other important criteria for us is safety and viewability. I mean, are we reaching the right audience? Is the video delivery happening to the right people and the right measure? So those are, a few metrics that we look at. So whether it is on broad audiences or if we activate first-party data audiences, the measurements are similar. We are looking to see, which audience or which channel is doing better versus anything else on the same metrics.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Sheena, and then I'll come to Amita. One question for you all is seek your guidance on how to stay innovative in today's world on video. And when I say video, it's across TV, social, video platforms everywhere. How does one stay innovative? How does one get the consumer's attention given the impatience?
Yeah, so like I said, it's about the art of storytelling and the kind of hook that you have basis the insight and the narrative that you want to build. Sometimes the storytelling itself can be innovative and disruptive and differentiated enough. Like endeavor for me and for my team and the agency is to do innovative work, and we try and do something which is, and in fact very soon next week we're breaking a campaign which we believe is innovative as well. And like I said, we've already done industry first initiatives with Gen I. Completely the film was scripted, edited and produced using only AI tools. I have already started working internally where we're churning out translations using AI, so it's innovative. We're already started doing talking heads avatars, so it's actually AI generated tool that's talking, and it's not a boring presentation or a video, but it makes it a lot more engaging because the format is innovative. We're doing interactive and immersive videos as well. So wherein the call to actions is actually linked and integrated within the video itself. So as channel partner, if I want the channel partner to click on a certain product, to buy now, recruit here, whatever be the call to action that I want him to do, it's actually integrated within the video itself as part of the storytelling. So those are the innovative formats that you can play around with, and actually there's no end to the imagination when it comes to innovation, and you can do that as the film content and from media touchpoints. An innovative use of an influencer or a celebrity if you're able to build a connect with a very hatke influencer or a stand-up comic, that itself is innovation. And therefore, that's part of your media planning and strategy from an innovation standpoint.
Fantastic. Very, very well put. Amita, how would you guide us? What should we do to stay innovative? Any trends that you see, any test you would want us to recommend?
See, I think, frankly speaking, Sheena has covered most of it. Okay, I'll just add that, innovation is a word which is very abused. Okay, so we don't always need to be innovative to be successful. It just has to be something which interacts well with your audiences, which communicates what it is that you want to say to the person you're talking to, so that he can take an appropriate action. And if that happens, then your innovation or lack of innovation really doesn't matter at times, because you have finally, joined the dots, and the person has understood your communication and taken the kind of action which you really want. In terms of the formats, etc., I think short format is really going to be the way most things move in terms of any communication from a brand. You just spoke about the 3-second story. So I hope it really doesn't become a 3-second...
imagine selling products in 3 seconds.
I think even a 6-seconder really is a very short and, just like a call to action kind of space. And I personally like, slightly longer format. At least it has to tell some story for me to get engaged with the brand. So I think these are the kind of things, as long as you're able to talk to your audience, segment that audience, communicate what you want to, I think that is what is critical today.
Fantastic, thank you. Yeah. That brings us to an end of this discussion. I will leave the audience with a 3-point summary, a very crisp summary and a joke. I think the 3 words to take away are impatience. The world is becoming more and more impatient. We need to plan for smaller, shorter content. Second, brands need to tie up with trust, which would be influencers, which people or audiences like us look up to. And third, I think the essence of all innovation or all new formats is somewhere between attention and engagement. So anything that drives attention and engagement will work, and that's what we need to chase. Lastly, because we spoke about formats and the duration, a very young colleague at office asked me, I can guess your age depending on what ACD or what average commercial duration of an ad do you like. So if you like 30, I can guess your age. If you like 6, I can guess your age. That's what I would like to conclude the evening with. Thank you so much. Thank you, panelists.
Thank you, Deepak.
Thank you so much, all of you, for one such wonderful session at the end that we have. Please put your hands together and give them a huge round of applause as a form of appreciation, and let's express our gratitude towards them. May I please take a moment of your time, Mr. Deepak, to felicitate all the gorgeous ladies on the dais that we have, and what a depth of knowledge all of you have shared with us and giving us a better sense of understanding, starting with Ms. Priyanka Khaneja Gandhi, Director, Integrated Brand Experience Lead, Colgate-Palmolive India Limited. Thank you so much for joining us in, Priyanka. Now moving on to felicitate Ms. Sheena Kapoor, Head Marketing, Corporate Communications and CSR, ICICI Lombard. Thank you so much, Sheena, for coming and joining us for the day. Now moving on to felicitate Ms. Amita Srivastava, Vice President, West Carat India. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us in today. And now I would like to take the opportunity to felicitate our session chair,